I don't know where I thought of this, but the only thing I think of now is like little girls who want to grow up and be a princess or something. And it's like, but why? So like, it's mostly the aesthetic, obviously, but if there's a princess in a kingdom, like actually like a ruler or somebody looking over things, it's like, why? And with the peace thing, like somebody can have all the things that they want, and then they're still not at peace, which is the one thing they've been looking for. It's like somebody like, oh, I have all the things that I thought all the things that should make me happy, and I'm not happy. Why do you think those things would make you happy? So then, if somebody's like, oh, I want a nicer car or a house, or I don't know what people want, but things that people get attached to with the idea that those, when I have that, it will make me happy, and then they get that. What makes a person think that will make them happy? On an intellectual level, even, because obviously attachment, like people just get attached to things, and then they're just reacting, and they just want that thing because they're attached to it, and yeah, I'll get happy because I'm attached to it, and then they get it, and then when they have it, their attachment has to find another target, and it gets that. But on an intellectual level, if they sat down, we're like, why would this make me happy? Like, what would be the point? It's like, you go
like make a list of the
how would this actually make you happy? Because if you have basic needs met, then how can you possibly justify the idea that having this thing makes me happy will actually make me happy? And then you could say it's cultural or something else, but it's mostly attachment. If it's not attachment and the person actually thought about it, then it's probably cultural, because they're like, culture and just everybody else wants it.
Yeah.
Almost like the marketing thing of like, marketing is never to convince a person they want it, but to convince them that everybody else thinks it's a good idea to have. So like, then that happens. And then if they transcend that, then they're left with their own devices. And if they still haven't developed enough awareness, what would they think about if they thought about that thing? Does that make sense?
What was the last part again? If they
there's like, I have an awareness and clarity and balance, so I'm good. And then there's the bottom of like just attachment and craving it.
Yeah.
And then so beyond craving, they're like no longer attached to it, but they look around, everybody else wants it, so they're like attached to something a little subtler of like whatever that is. And then they transcend the culture. They're like, oh, everybody else tells me that. What do they think about that makes them want it before they have the awareness, but they aren't falling for the cultural sway? How would a person justify?
Well, if I think about something, it'd be like, well, I can do something with it that I couldn't otherwise do.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's...
So if somebody's going after money, it's not attachment, it's not cultural sway, but then they have enough money, then they just...
What do you mean they have enough money?
Like, they have basic needs and that they have enough money.
Yeah.
They have... Yeah. I don't know, it's like...
Well, because they want to do something that they otherwise couldn't do if they didn't have that thing.
But usually that thing is just like, buy a house. But then what's that for?
Well, to live in the house.
But then they don't. That's why there's so many empty houses there.
Well...
like, it's just like the alien thing. It just doesn't make sense. It's like any argument that could possibly come up of why somebody wants something. Unless it's with awareness, then it's just attachment. And if it's not attachment to their own just ignorance, then they've just enough ignorance that others and culture and stuff influence them. And then once they figured that out, then it's just a matter of them getting enough awareness to have their own free will back, and then they have the power to do anything. Yeah.
Math is hard.